All right, welcome back to Veteran Well Secrets. I'm Scott Tucker. Thanks so much for joining us. Make sure you're subscribing. We're having a great time on these interviews where we want to learn the secrets for people still on active duty. You know, whatever it is to got you to where you are in your career. You found some sort of secret along the way. If you're in transition, you're learning things on the fly, things that you can share with others. And of course, if you're already a veteran and you've probably gone through different versions of transition, when you come across something or want have something to share or had some epiphanies, that's what this show is all about, and that's why I'm excited to have what I've just discovered, fellow Army lacrosse player Rich Camacho. How you doing, brother?
Hey, Scott, how are you?
Nah, we're doing great. Real excited to chat with a fellow lax bro, of course, but definitely want to get into what you're up to. You know, a little bit about if you could share just a little bit about kind of how you came out of the military and ended up looks like running your own recruiting agency, which is a huge step. So why don't you share a little bit about what's going on with you these days? I mean, I know we're in a different time than probably if we were having this conversation a year ago. I'd like to get back.
What's going on?
Yeah, right. You know, maybe it doesn't matter. It's like, you know, for my business, I was already 99%, you know, doing Zoom calls and stuff. So, but I know there's things changing in the environment. I know BlueRecruit has a very specific type of person that you're serving, and that might, you know, be drastically impacted, I'm assuming. So anyways, well, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are about, and we'll go from there.
No, well, thanks for having me today, and morning to everybody. Unfortunately, I think we might have lost like half the audience when they found out it was just going to be two lax bros talking.
Yeah, two West Point guys.
Oh, yeah, God. Like I'm out. No, but yeah, what we're doing at BlueRecruit, as Scott mentioned, Army lacrosse guy, West Point, turned to Army aviation, served for about 8-9 years in that. As soon as I found out I'd be flying a desk for the rest of my life, I was like, hey, peace.
Yeah.
And for about 4 years was in an agency where we were helping fellow veterans transition out of the service and find themselves into kind of early career, kind of developmental type roles in corporate America, and quickly realized that there's really nothing out there, no service, no organization that is particularly targeting blue collar skilled laborers. So myself and a couple other founders last year, we created BlueRecruit. I'm super fortunate to be the CEO, and we have a software platform that's really like the match.com for blue collar workers. The worker, the skilled laborer creates a profile, and then employers also have their own profiles. They say exactly what they're looking for. Our technology matches the two, and they take it away from there.
Wow, that's amazing. You're not even just talking about, are you talking about veteran blue collar workers, or across the board there was nothing like this that existed?
Yeah, so there is nothing out there that's specifically built for blue collar workers. And, you know, in a lot of cases, someone going out there trying to be a CTO, you know, running a software company, they're going to have that resume, a portfolio of work that doesn't really make sense for an auto mechanic. Like, I don't really care if an auto mechanic can write a one-page qualitative resume. I care that he or she can fix my truck.
Yeah, I've done 1,000 of these, you know, tires, whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, cool. A resume means nothing. So what we did was, hey, list all of your, like for mechanics, for example, all your ASE certifications, all your licenses, all those experiences. And then an auto shop says, hey, I need someone with the following ASE certifications. We match it, and then they go ahead and go from there. It's all done via mobile, which, you know, LinkedIn's great. Again, not made for plumbers.
Right.
A plumber isn't sitting at their desktop.
It could be if they're a self-employed plumber running their own thing, but, you know, you might be able to use LinkedIn effectively to network in, but to get a job, sure. But what you're doing, it's you're not talking about freelancing either, right?
No.
You're this is to find employees. So what's it take for someone coming out of the military? You know, we always know we got to translate our skills, translate your certifications. How do they, but if they already have the skill sets or just need a couple more to be able to fit into your new system, how's that looking for the typical veteran who's looking for more of a blue collar job, but a good one?
Yes. Yeah, so we're really happy. We're looking to grow it right now. About 10% of all of our job seekers are veterans,
Okay.
and I think we can all relate that there's a lot of things that you do in the military, you learn in the military, you gain these experiences, but you never get like a certification for it. Think of mechanics, great example. Fuelers, all tons of great skills, but you might never actually get an OSHA certification or a certification from, add whatever acronym you want to the end of it. So one thing that we try really hard to do is we created partnerships with community colleges all over the country where we can translate those skills, get you connected with a community college where you can actually oftentimes take those hours, take those experiences that you gained in the military, apply them to whatever program that community college has. And in a matter of weeks, maybe months, boom, you have a hard certification and you're now even more attractive to employers.
And is GI Bill a work for that?
Yeah. And in most cases, it's going to be completely free.
Do you think there's enough veterans looking at this path versus go get the full degree, go compete against all these other people for these harder jobs when frankly you can thrive in this, being a blue collar worker isn't what it used to be, I'm assuming, right?
No, like I think we really have like a generational problem.
Okay.
Where everyone, my age plus or minus a couple of years was told, hey, the only way you're ever going to succeed is if you go and get this 4-year degree in whatever university and whatever degree, who cares? Just go do it. And now you've got kids with, ancient German literature degrees, $150,000 in debt. And if COVID's taught us anything, like if you go to Harvard and pay $40,000 for online school, you should be just slapped in the face. Like not a good use of funds.
Right.
and really like across the street from me, there's Evan. He owns a plumbing company. He's got an awesome house. Makes a great living, has zero debt coming out of school when he first became a plumber, because he went through an apprenticeship, got the experiences that he needed, worked his way up. And that I think, coaches, parents, chaplains, whatever it is, really have to stop telling kids now, like the only way to do it is this kind of useless bachelor's degree. There's other courses, there's trade schools, vocational schools, community colleges, where you can come out with virtually zero debt and make a great living. And it's a great path for veterans.
I totally agree with that. I think oftentimes we want to come out of the military and think, I want to start a business, so I'm just going to go give it a shot, buy a franchise, whatever it is. Sometimes that goes well. Usually that ends up being in the kind of 95% failure rate. I gave it a shot, but I can always go get that job anyways and pull the veteran card. When in reality, it's like, no, go do something for a few years, white collar, blue collar, whatever. You're going to learn skill sets. Maybe you want to expand on, improve that business. I think it looks to be like where you saw an opportunity to, hey, so nobody's solving this problem. Well, I'm going to go do my own thing and start it. But you did it after 4 years of apprenticeship, being in, learning the skill sets. So no, I love this new concept. I mean, honestly, I've heard something along the lines of less than 4% of people using the post 9/11 GI Bill for like a bachelor's degree finish it. Right. Wow. And so to use it in this more intentional way, I think would be huge for our community. So excited that would you share us a little bit about, I know there's something you wanted to talk about today that I'm guessing, you're working with a lot of civilian employers and employees, I'm assuming, that have not been in the military. And there's always that confusion of, hey, we're not speaking the same language. Ironically, I was a Portuguese major at West Point. So I always kind of make fun of my degree. Ended up helping me out because it put me, in entrepreneurial situations when I was traveling the world. I had to figure things out. But we learned to kind of do things. Hey, we have orders in the military. We have SOPs that we have to follow. We also have things that you just know you're supposed to do. And I know you wanted to talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, go ahead. What did you want to say about the implied task?
Yeah, I like how you brought up the Portuguese major. I was an international relations, and I'm not an ambassador to whatever country nowadays. Like, once again, showing the bachelor's degree is not always the best way to go. But one thing that has definitely kind of just like slapped me in the face these last year and a half, 2 years, is the concept of implied task. we are so ingrained in the military. Take your youngest lieutenant. The first task that young kid's going to get is most likely go run a qualification weapons range, right? I think every single young officer has been given that task. Mm-hmm. So your boss tells you go run this range. Naturally in your head, you're like, okay, I got to go get ammo. I have to go get a bunch of safety checks. I have to go get some MREs. I have to go reserve the land. Those are all those implied tasks that we've been get kind of ingrained and taught to mm-hmm. come up with. One thing that I think a lot of veterans that we screw up when we make the transition is assuming that everyone has that same kind of cultural background where implied tasks are in fact that implied. And me now in the tech sector, I'm working with people with all different kinds of backgrounds, very few veterans in the tech space. And when we put out a new product, for example, there's 60,000 different lines of code that need to get developed. And we literally have to spell all that stuff out. And it's crazy. And it's on us, the veteran, to understand that, hey, we're now the minority. We're the ones that have to do a better job of communicating and really implying to others. And we can't get mad or frustrated like I often did in the beginning. Like, why do you not know that you're supposed to do this? Like, how can we possibly get to A without going, or the D without going ABC first?
Yeah. But you cross the road without looking both ways. Like, how on earth? It just, I hear it.
Yeah, but just remember, it's on us. Like, we're the minority. We're the ones that have to adjust. And like you said earlier, like, I'll play the veteran card and get that new job. That only goes so far. And it really is that understanding. Like, no one's doing you a favor when you go get a new job. Like, we're the ones that have to mold to their culture, just like we molded to the military's culture.
Do we come out often saying, well, I learned all this stuff in the military, so therefore I'm the project manager, I'm the leader, so I'm coming in here. You guys should be using, why wouldn't you use all this military structure? It seems so obvious, right? And I'm guessing we run into that a lot. How do we, that's one thing I like about being a language major. It's all about communication. If you are not communicating, how are you doing anything? And so you said it, there's different cultures in a lot of way. We're quite lucky that if you read Sebastian Junger's book, Tribe, like, we're one of the few people in the human era that can almost have an experience of what it was like to be in a tribe where you have to depend on each other and speak the same language and all that stuff. And we only get it for a little bit, and then we go off into the world, but people have been living all sorts of different lives. I don't know. How do you think we can, any tips on what, especially nowadays, we should be, how should our mindset be as we're going into this new world?
I hate to say it, but I often have to go into situations and be like, all right, you have to be gentle, Rich, for the situation. Like, he doesn't know that he screwed this up.
Okay.
And that is definitely different than how a lot of us were, I say, brought up, our late teens, early 20s, where we're really kind of molded into the people that we are. And I think one great thing that the military does do, and, I've seen tons of, like, especially officers that, like, I was running this. Why aren't I now the boss? Like, no, it's a different industry, like, you didn't just come in and become the company commander. Like, you had to be a lieutenant, a platoon leader. You went over on staff. It's the exact same thing in corporate America. And what I do expect of veterans is that they're going to be able to grow through the corporate ranks faster because they've already done in the military. But by no means should someone come in with some kind of expectation. Hey, I am now the boss because I was the boss. When you do that transition from the military to civilian time to the civilian world, it's not lateral. It's not. Almost never is it an upward step. You're usually taking a step back, but you got to rely on that experience and then move faster through the ranks.
Do you think going the blue collar route, people have more opportunity to rise faster in a way that might be counterintuitive? Because people think, hey, you get paid more at this type of a job. I'm just curious. We don't get to tier this side of the opportunity very much. It sounds like the blue collar job, that's not who's showing up at the job fairs, right? So everything coming out of military transitions about perfect that resume, get that, interview down pat. Where are the opportunities to steer more folks in your direction?
Yeah, that is a great point. because like when you're going through, I don't even know what it's called now, TAPS or soldier transition. I feel like
soldier for life, leaving
soldier
the
for life now.
think about this for language. Leaving the military, yet it's called soldier for life. It's like we're not even getting the mindset right.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're always a Marine. Got it. But now you're not going to wear your uniform to work.
They're not paying you.
And we got to make that mental transition. But one thing that I think, and this is something that we try really hard to do, is getting rid of like this negative connotation that blue collar skilled workers have gotten. Like, oh, you're going to be dirty and greasy and you're never going to make more than $22 an hour. Like, absolutely not.
Not true.
Like, they're fantastic. I mean, I built this wall behind me, but guess what? I'm not going to fix the plumbing system because in 2 days we're going to have what all over the floor. And at the end of the day, that person has skills that I will never have. And guess what? I have to open up my wallet in order to pay her to do that.
Right.
And electrical system, I'll fix whatever. I ain't touching those wires because I'll be dead.
Yeah.
and people don't realize how quickly you can move up in those sectors, get those certifications. And so many times we see, young kids that are hired out of a community college, they apprentice for 1, 2, 3 years, depending on the trade. And boom, they're running their own business.
Yeah.
Like, how many times can a project manager, like we talked about earlier, leave the military, go work for some, Fortune 500? You're probably not running your own tech company 3 years later.
Right. And not to mention, I mean, this is something I like to teach people that's always so powerful, no matter what you want to do. If you can teach people something and use the modern internet to do it, do you know how many people are making lots of money on YouTube channels, showing off their plumbing skills, their cooking skills, whatever it is? It's mind-boggling, and anybody could do it. You just have to know something. You don't have to have a certification as long as you're teaching somebody something. So no, I think I'm excited that you came on. I'm really glad you brought this to my attention, because I'm going to talk about the blue collar aspect of it more and more. I've always said we don't necessarily need the degrees. I don't necessarily use mine in any way. I don't know if it really helped me, but opportunities are out there. These jobs need to get done. So Rich, as we're closing up here, where do you see 3 years from now? You call yourself a tech company, right? Not as much as a recruiting agency. So where do you see your guys' trajectory over the next 3 years? 3 years seems like a short time in this day and age. I don't think it is, but we got to have some sort of planning thing. Like, hey, what's on the horizon? Where do you see the opportunities where you guys are going to expand?
Well, I would tell my investors that we'd be getting acquired. And then I tell everybody else that what we're really working on right now, really hard as a team, is we realized, just like right now, we see BlueRecruit. This is a place where a young veteran can go and land that job. What we ultimately want to do is be the career counselor for that individual. So let's say an E4 leaves the military, we get them a job as a construction worker at a local firm. We want to be the place where he or she can come back to and say, hey, you know what? 10 years from now, I want to be a superintendent at this construction company. Well, here's the path to do that. Here's all the certifications, the licenses, the skill sets you're going to need to get. And here is how we can help you get those, whether it be online, in person, and be that depository and that almost career counselor for them. So that's our long-term, really 18, 24-month plan right now.
No, I think that sounds great. I think it would be a great thing to collaborate with the transition assistance programs. There are so many of them, but they're doing new things with the skill bridge and stuff. So I bet there's tons of opportunity to do that. So no, thank you for your ingenuity. Figure that out. I'm looking forward to getting to know you more and what types of people we should be sending your way. But how do folks get a hold of you, Rich? Who should be contacting you? Where do they find you?
Yeah, go to BlueRecruit. You see the words down there at the bottom, bluerecruit.us. And or if you can just Google BlueRecruit, we'll be the first thing to pop up there. If you're looking for a job, you're deciding to make that transition. If you're a skilled worker, if you're just wanting to start off, we've got tons of general labor type opportunities as well. And one thing that we've really seen, I'm really, really happy about this. All the hospitality workers that have just had, I think they've been hit the hardest by this.
Right.
you're a bartender, a waitress, a hostess, whatever. Don't think we can't find you a job, because there's so many skills that are interchangeable amongst industries. We've seen folks that were laid off from Walt Disney World down in Orlando. They're now hospitality individuals at the world's largest Porsche and BMW dealership down in Orlando. So you'd never would think of like, oh, I went from being a Disney cast member to working at BMW. Mm-hmm. But tons of those skill sets are interchangeable. So if you're down on your luck right now, I'm super sorry, but sign up. We can help you out.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that's important anyways in our community to know we got to be ready to adjust, because once, automated cars come around, the job description driver is going to disappear. So where do all those workers go? You don't necessarily have to get retrained. There's plenty of opportunity for skilled labor and stuff. So
don't worry about that automation. There used to be a bunch of people putting horseshoes on horses.
Right.
Then they became mechanics.
It just means there's going to be new things, but if you're not willing to adapt your skill set, you will get left behind. Technology always wins. So keep that in mind, folks. No, I'm so excited for you guys and what you're doing. And thanks again for coming on and sharing your thoughts, Rich. All right, for everybody else, we will see you next time. Thanks again.